She's got that look. She's got that style. She's got that conversation that makes you want to stay for a while. She's the all-American woman. Hi, it's your all-American woman here with another um, contribution or recommendation for your viewing pleasure during Black History Month. Today I wanted to talk about another DVD. This is a documentary, and it's called The Souls of Black Girls. Now, this one is basically talking about black women in general, or the story of or what black women, black girls are dealing with in today's society. Um, Basically, they're talking about what is deemed beautiful, what is amongst black women, what is sexy, what is so important about sex, what is strength, the things that we as black girls and then as black women have to deal with in a society that is not always kind to us. Um, this is beautiful. This kind of has, a lot of superstars or entertainers and the black entertainers, I should say. I was about to say black entertainers in the black community. But yeah, like Regina King, Jada Pinkett Smith, Chuck D from Public Enemy, just to name a few. They're basically giving their opinions of, how the media is portraying black females, and then how we as black females are seeing ourselves and then looking at our own images and saying, is this right? Is this who I am? Can I be more? Is this a positive image of me? Is this a realistic image of me? And that's what this documentary does. This was done by Daphne S. Valerius, and I hope I'm pronouncing her name right. And she did a beautiful job, because it not only talks about the way that others or people of other races see us, but also as we see each other. Like, it goes over the whole thing with a little bit about black hair. Some people wear their hair natural, some people wear perm, some people are in between. It's and things like that. I personally believe, as I have always believed, that we as black people are diverse within our own race, just as any other race would be. You don't expect, or you shouldn't expect, all black people to be the same. You shouldn't expect all black women to think the same. Yes, there is a bond among us, but still, there should be a bond among us. Just like there should be a bond among all humans. But the more you feel you have in common with a person, the more you feel like the bond would possibly or could possibly be stronger. And that's normally why, when I'm talking about Black History Month and things like that, I veer towards black women, because that's what I am. I am a black woman. I've always considered myself a woman first, simply because I grew up in a black community where everyone, it was predominantly black. Normally the only time I saw someone white was when we went to what we called, when you go to town and you see the people that are either shopping in the same stores you're shopping in, or that are the managers or own the stores or work in the stores or things like that. That's when I normally, and then as I got older, of course, I saw more when I moved away, went to different schools and things like that. But initially, growing up, predominantly, I grew up around black people. So race was not necessarily an issue. No one really talked about race because everyone was the same race. Yeah. But man versus woman, that came up a lot. The woman's place as opposed to the man's place. Or even in some dynamics, the children's place amongst adults, which was usually away from the adults. Things like that. So growing up in that type of environment, I never really had to justify myself being black or to say, I'm just as good as you, even though I'm black, because we were all black. But I did have to fight for my self worth as a woman because I grew up around a lot of women who were very, strong, and there was a sister in her, and there was a bond and protection, especially where my grandmother was concerned. She was very protective of all of her grandkids. And, she took care of us, and nobody messed with us when my grandma was around. And this is my grandma on my mother's side. And then on my dad's side, my grandmother was more like very sweet and very kind and stuff. Not that my grandmother or my mother, but no one really thought of sweet when they thought of my grandma on my mom's side or my maternal grandmother, as opposed to my paternal grandmother, where she was very sweet. She was the grandmother you would think of baking in the kitchen, waiting for the grandkids to come by, so she'd give them all kisses and hugs and tell them things. Where my maternal grandmother, she cooked and she took care of the house and stuff, but she was also out working. She was also the one you didn't want to mess with or get on the wrong side of, because that would not be pretty either. So, yeah. And growing up around women like that, because I had my aunts and also my great grandmother and things like that, I felt more that I had to be a woman like that because I was already black. Growing up and I never had to deal with those issues that, you see a lot on film about, with the segregation, with people being treated badly because of their race and things. I didn't grow up with that because I was protected from that by my family. All of us kids we were protected from that. I didn't see a lot of that stuff until I became an adult, or even watching television and seeing things that way, because they didn't really even talk about it in school. So, for that, I had to learn it by reading about it or by watching it on television, movies and things like that. But I never had to deal with those types of things as far as being black and being treated less than because I was black. And even if I had been, I never recognized it because I was so protected from it from my family. Now, as I became older and I learned more, I began to see more. And that's why I was always considering myself a woman first, because I dealt with a lot of sexism growing up, especially teenager on up. There was a huge amount of sexism. So when I talk about things, dealing with black people, I'm always gonna look at it from a black woman's perspective, because one, I sometimes feel that black women are underrated and overlooked a lot of times. And this really speaks to that. This documentary really speaks to that. How we're not only done that way by people of other races, but we're sometimes done that way by men of our race, black men that do the same thing to us. And it bothers me. I've seen it before, where black men are more, kind or gentler to women of another race than they would be to us, because if they don't see us as their equal, they see us as less than. And, you already know what's going on. I can try something different with old girl because she may not know. Things like that. And it's not always that way, of course. And I'm generalizing, and I don't like to do that. So let me get back from that. Because there are a lot of supportive black men as well of their black women. And you don't necessarily have to be, just to love a person of another race doesn't mean that you dislike your own race. No, of course it doesn't mean that. Of course not. It just it just means that you have to look at it from both sides. Look at it not only from your point of view, but try and look at it from the other point of view. And you know what your intention is, but sometimes your intention is not the same as the way that person perceives it to be. And with black girls, because of the images and the things that we see, the things that we hear, I remember at a certain point in time, it was wonderful to be a black woman in the United States because we were going to colleges. I mean, statistically speaking, looking at the numbers, we were the top in the females going to colleges, graduating from high school, getting an education, getting professional jobs. And then along came rap music. And I don't blame it on rap music, no, because no one has to listen to rap music. But I think that was kind of like a downfall in media and the way that we started to be looked at. At one point, we were looked at in very high esteem, almost to the point where they looked at us, other people of different races looked at black women, maybe even in higher esteem than black men. But when rap music came along, and not just all rap music, because I love rap music from the East Coast. I'm an East Coast girl, and I won't blame it on that. And I'm not blaming rap music, period. But I remember the rap music that came out from people like NWA and groups like that on the West Coast, Snoop Dogg, and people like that, that their videos and their music talked so lowly of black women. And period. I mean, there was no always some black women like this. No. If you were on the videos, you were video whores. If you were not on the videos, you were tricks. You were this and that. But there was never anything positive, and it was a huge generalization. And all of a sudden, black women began to trickle down the totem pole. And it wasn't then not only were people of different races began to look at us differently, but our black girls began to look at themselves differently and say, hey, I see more women doing this, getting half naked on the videos and looking good with all the men in the cars and the money than I see, becoming attorneys or judges or, professionals or going to school. I can get money faster doing this. And it was terrible. But again, and please don't get me wrong. I like rap music. I like hip hop. I don't like it all. And I don't listen to that stuff that is misogynistic. I don't listen to it at all because it has no value to me. It's not even considered music in my eyes, to my ears either. So, but yeah, really look at this video, look at this documentary to get a better idea of what I'm saying, because it speaks about the longevity of black women, the struggle of black women, and also the strength of black women and the perseverance, because we're still going strong. We may have to fight a little bit harder. Or no, I take that back. We have to keep fighting, but it's nothing we haven't had to do before. Because black women have always been fighters. We may have to fight with less than we had before, because before we had more support, I suppose. But now we have to really lean on and depend on and have that sisterhood that is so important. All right, now, that's all I got today. Thank you for listening. If you have any comments, please put them on at the bottom of the screen. And I hope to see you next time.